the evolution of distribution technology. Distribution means how films are being shown by various technologies have been in use for the distribution. And as all of you know that Thomas Alva Edison was the inventor of kinematoscope. This was in 1894 and he was a businessman. So what he thought that instead of watching movies in a big theater with so many people, there should be an individual kinematoscope for a person so that he could sell more kinematoscopes and this becomes a different experience. So how it was actually working those days, you can see this picture. People have individual kinematoscope in front of them and they are watching the movies over there. So every person has a different machine to watch movie. So if more people have to watch the movies, they will need more and more machines. So this was his idea of business, so that a more business can be created by creating more kinematoscopes. In fact, if you just casually look at it, the dress code people are wearing over there was also a formal dress code over there. So if this would have continued, we never would have got a theater like this. We would not have never got an experience to watch movies in a theater. But everything changed, and now you know we have been watching movies in the theater, because watching movies is not only a technical experience, but it is a social experience as well. Watching movies with others, with their reactions, is itself in an experience. How do we change this technology over a period of time? As you know, in early days, it was a film print. A film print typically weighed anything between 30 kilo to 35 kilo. It was a huge weight because 1,000 feet of film was weighing 2.25 kilograms, and a typical film was anything between 12,000 to 15,000 feet. So if you have to carry this print from one theater to another theater, it was a difficult job. It was not just possible for one person to do all these things. Also, when you are watching a movie in a theater, you need a continuous experience. So if you are putting one reel on one projector, you have to have another projector to put the next reel, so that you have a continuous, without break experience of watching a movie. Then a new technology came in year, say almost 2008 in India. This is DCP, Digital Cinema Package. Digital Cinema Package is like a hard disk which is used to carry the movie information to the digital projector. Now a digital projector also has a server, and this information is downloaded on the server. The server has a particular serial number in a particular screen. So whenever these movies go to different screens, it also needs a password. The password in this industry is called KDM, Key Delivery Message. A KDM actually specifies in which server, on what day, from which time to which time this movie can be shown. So this information goes to the theater by email from the distributor or a copyright owner. Only after that a movie can be shown. So this was controlling the shows of the movies, even though a digital content was always available to that theater. So this is how even currently digital movies are being shown. So what is going to happen in future? We are going to discuss about it. The new ways of distribution are DTH, which is direct to home, mobile devices, and cloud distribution. DTH, almost you must have seen all these dish antennas on the terrace of most of the buildings here. This is used for directly delivering the content to the television. Then the new technology, what is coming up, is handheld devices. Now there are various handheld devices, and mobile is one of them. Mobile, when it started, we know it was very big, and those days smaller was better. So a smaller mobile was always much costlier and was supposed to be the best mobile. But when the smartphone started coming in, we know the bigger screen is better. So the trend has changed from smaller to bigger. If you just compare the various sizes of the handheld devices, you will see from iPhone to the desktop, the sizes keep changing from 3.5 inch to almost 15 inch. And these are the various screens we also use for watching the movies. Now cloud storage. What has happened that although the DCPs are being distributed as a hard disk, in future there is a possibility that most of the content will be stored on the cloud at a remote location. It can be a location outside our country also. So this information will come via satellite or through optical fiber networks to the various theaters. Again, there will be a password. So the entire information coming from the cloud storage can come to the theater with password. And with this, the most interesting part of film festival will be enjoyable, because in most of the film festivals currently we face a problem that the prints doesn't come in time, even the DCP doesn't come in time, and even if we got the DCP in the right time, the key delivery messages are not delivered. And this happens mainly because there are time differences between the countries, and at international festivals you cannot call people when we are having a daytime. In US it is the night, so all the offices are closed, very difficult to contact them. So with this cloud distribution, this entire problem will go away, and it will be much easier for film festival to have a location which can be as remote as a small town, because currently most of the film festivals are happening at the big cities, mainly because of the logistic problems. They cannot carry all these things to smaller places, but with cloud distribution and satellite distribution, this will be possible. As you know, in India, we have different regions, different states, and they make different languages, films. So India is the country which makes the maximum number of films in the world, and that too in various languages. We currently make films in almost 24 different languages, and all these languages are popular in that particular state. When the film production started in India, the early days, the number of films were very much less. Say like in 1931, it was only 27 films, which gradually grown. In 1986, it was 940. And currently, last few years, we are making on an average between 1200 to 1500 films. That is almost 4 to 5 films a day, which is a big number for a country like India. But are we able to show all these films properly? If you just see the number of screens in early days, in 1950, total was 3,348. Out of that, there were permanent screens and temporary screens. Permanent are the screens which are built in a theater like this, or in a structure, and the temporary screens are like touring talkies, which used to move from one place to another place. If you see the number, it went on gradually increasing, and 1985 we see 12,370 screens, and the population was, so if you just consider this for a population, it was 1.65 screens per 1 lakh or 100,000 population, which is, by international standard, it's a very low ratio. The first film was shown in Mumbai. This is the actual photograph of the building, currently taken photograph. On the first floor of this building was a place called Watson's Hotel, and the Lumiere brothers films were shown here on 7th of July 1896. There were 4 shows at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. and the admission those days was 1 rupee. 1 rupee of 1896 is almost equivalent to 1000 rupees today. So you can imagine the kind of response they got, and still it was houseful, and this was a popular show. Unfortunately, this building still doesn't have that nameplate that the first Indian cinema was shown here. This is a building at the right in the heart of Mumbai, opposite Jahangir Art Gallery, and this is still there. Unfortunately, we have forgot to put a proper sign there so that people in India and also from visitors from international, they should understand that this was the first place where cinema was shown in India. Then, as you know, the first talkie film was Alamara. This was in 1932, and that time the ticket price was between 25 paise to 3 rupees 50 paise. 1932, 3 rupees 50 paise again is a huge number. So the films were so popular those days that at this price the ticket could be sold. Also, they had a concessional show for school boys and girls at 10 a.m. for this kind of film. Then, as you know, the theaters, as I told you, permanent theaters were in the major towns, but for most of the villagers, there was no place to watch the movie. So the theater used to come to their village. The theater was on a truck. This truck is named as Krishna Koina Talkies. So it's a movable truck which has a tent behind. On the truck, you mount the projector, reel, everything was mounted on that. And this is how they used to watch. The people used to sit on the ground. There was a projection from the back, and they used to watch. This was the cheapest form of cinema those days. So cinema was consumed by the villagers, also by the top people in the country. So it was the most liked media those days because there was no television. Now, as you know, there are multiplexes. There are many multiplexes which has come up. And if you see these multiplexes, they are really very good theaters. They are very posh theaters where you can actually relax and watch a movie. So we have come from a place where a villager could watch it sitting on the ground to a best place where you can have the best experience of watching movies. But what is happening as number of screens? In India, we have for 100,000 people only 0.8 screens, whereas USA has got 12 screens, UK has got 6, China has got 3, Brazil, a small country, has better ratio than India. So what is happening? The number of screens are not increasing. After 1985, when we had number of screens as like 12,800, the number has gone down. In fact, today, for a population of 120 crore or 1.2 billion, the number of screens are about 11,000, which is a much smaller ratio. So this is also affecting our business. If you see the business, although we sell maximum number of tickets, our business is only $2.1 billion as compared to the US business of $36.4 billion and China's business of $5.1 billion. The main reason for this is Indian tickets are sold in Indian rupees, and Indian rupees as compared to US dollar is very weak. So our revenue from the film industry, which is supposed to be the world's biggest film industry in terms of number, is only 10% of the world. But we have a positive side now. One is the internet presence is increasing. It is increasing at a faster rate than the television. So this business, as I told you, India's business is almost 10% of the world, although we are the biggest film industry in the world. So we need to increase this business, and this business is restricted mainly because of the number of screens. We don't have enough number of screens to watch the movie, and you always find this problem, particularly for regional movies. Whenever they have to release a regional movie, they don't get theaters. It's a tough situation for every regional movie. And out of say like 1200 movies in India, almost 800 are regional movies. So these regional movies don't have a proper distribution system. So what is happening? A good point which is happening for India is, although we have the lowest number of screens in the per person in world, the number of mobile phones or smartphones are increasing. And we have almost 90 crore or 0.9 billion mobile phones for a population of 1.2 billion. So this is really a very good ratio. So how we are going to make use of this? Now, as you know, I was just asking you how many of you watch the movies on mobile phones, and I found some people already watching it. So this is the trend which is going to happen for future. Because our number of screens are limited, we need a proper system to reach movies to individuals, and mobile phones or cell phones are going to make a major development, a major change in India in future, in the next 5 to 10 years. And the movies will be consumed not in full, but also in parts. Like if I want to watch a particular song of the movie, or if I want to watch a particular dialogue of the movie, I can purchase it on my mobile phone at a much lesser rate than what I watch it in a theater. In theater, I don't have this option. This option will be available for cell phone owners. So this is a totally changing environment for India. We are getting well connected. We have already got 4G connections almost to most of the towns. We are already getting connected with optical fiber, and there is a promotion of digital India by the government. So all this thing is going to change the scenario, and this is definitely going to help the regional filmmakers. The regional filmmakers, because they are not able to distribute their films for want of theater, will find a big avenue of distributing their movies through the cell phones. And this will also generate a revenue, and definitely this will also combat the piracy. Why piracy happens? It is because if I don't get a chance to watch a movie at a time when I want to watch it, at a place when I want to watch it, I'm tempted for a piracy because I want to watch that movie. So this is how it is going to change. If you get a place, a time of your choice to watch a movie, definitely the business of distribution will grow. The business of distribution, once it grows, the money will come to the producers, and overall revenues for the Indian filmmakers will grow, which will ultimately grow the industry. Are you aware that Indian film industry is the second largest employer in India after Indian Railways? So this is a huge industry, and definitely a growth in industry by turnover will definitely increase the employment also. So I think we have now come to a full circle. In 1895, Thomas Alva Edison suggested that individuals should watch movies on their machines. We are doing the same now, but with new technologies, and this will definitely help our country, our producers, and our film industry business. Thank you.